During the webinar today, we will cover two out of the whole array of collaborative learning tools, which is the Ed Discussion Board and Padlet. And I will send you the guides to other collab tools that we have at UQ and that are centrally supported. Unfortunately, we just have 1 hour, so two tools would be just what we will have time for. The University of Queensland acknowledges the traditional owners and their custodianship of the lands on which we meet, and we pay our respects to their ancestors and their descendants who continue cultural and spiritual connections to country, and we recognize their valuable contributions to Australian and global society. What is collaborative learning and why and when do we want to use it? Currently, the learning and the mapping of learning is changing. So it's not, and the classrooms are flipping. So the instructors are not just the whole conductors of learning. Students create learning together with instructors and course coordinators and together with each other. Social collaborative learning allow the students more in-depth exploration of the study resources, and their knowledge is formed through the social interaction. And we also know that knowledge is distributed. So when the student creates the knowledge, they can disseminate it further. And collaborative knowledge fosters high-level thinking, oral communication, self-management, and leadership skills, which are all very important components of 21st century skills. Let's start with Ed Discussion. So Ed Discussion is an online environment for students to interact with the teaching team and with each other about the course content, assessment, and other social topics, which will create a sense of belonging. And then we will continue with the Padlet, which is an online board for students to collaborate in class synchronously or asynchronously out of class activities. All right. So what's Ed Discussion? It's an enhanced discussion board. It will streamline all course communication in one channel. It will allow students to very quickly get responses to their questions. It will scale class communications. When you will learn, when the communication starts, that the students are asking the same questions and you might not want to respond every time the same thing. So you might just want to reduce the number of emails you're getting from the students. And Ed Discussion allows to create categories and subcategories, which you will see in a second, which will keep the course discussion structured. It also is a social platform, and if you post course unrelated content, but social content, it might create a sense of belonging for the students, and that sense of belonging, in fact, will in its turn sort of will drive them to the platform and will then facilitate that collaborative learning. And it has an exceptional text editor, which will allow adding of multimedia, text, images, videos, etc., etc. Okay, that's it. It's me talking. So I will post a link in the chat. If you can just click on it, you should be able to get the links in the chat, and it's on the screen. You will be able to get somewhere here. Can I please then, when you click on the link, get a show of hands if you are able to click on the link and if you are in the Ed Discussion platform? Just click on the link in the chat. It probably will prompt you to log in. Thank you, Liz. Thank you, Wei Kang. Thank you. Thank you, Christine. Thank you, Lou. Let me give you another 30 seconds or a minute to log in. It's actually the most sometimes challenging part to get all the participants into a system, and then it all goes quite smoothly. Thank you. Pasmapirian, I hope I pronounced it correctly. Thank you, Emily. Thank you, Carol. Okay. Those who are in, please start exploring, click everywhere. Let me wait for another 30 seconds. Does anyone need a hand with logging in, or are we all good? Okay, then I'll continue. So this is how a discussion looks. If you've used Blackboard discussion, you can see the difference, and this is how clean, clear, and intuitive and very user-friendly the platform is. Nima, if you're talking, you're muted. If you have a question, I'll be happy to answer. Okay. Right. So quick navigation of what you see on the platform. Here in the in the bottom left-hand corner, you will see the categories that will be created in the course. Usually it's the course coordinators who will create categories, but I believe they might give you some rights, like administrative rights, so that you will be able to do that. This is a training course. It's been repurposed, so there are like lots of categories, and those are called categories, and there are subcategories you might want to structure. Again, it's up to you or the course coordinators how you want to structure your course. In the middle here is the list of all the threads that are within this particular category. And if you click on a particular thread, and thread is an initial post with the consequent responses, replies, comments, etc. You will see in the middle section the contents of a thread. So this one's called 10 Rules of Participation in a Discussion. I will send all the workshop materials after the workshop to you. Please feel free to use them in your courses. So this is basically online etiquette, how to use any online platform and a discussion in particular. All right. So let's do the first activity. Can I please ask you to, within Ready to Tutor week, if you can click on that category and click on the post, which is called What Do You Like Most About Your Job? And can I please ask you, in the comments at the bottom, you can either click on comment here, or you can, in this bar, you can click on comment and the text box appears. Can you please respond and ask what is it that you actually like about your job? And then heart the responses from the other participants. And if you find some of the responses particularly interesting or appealing to you, just reply to them. So I can say, I love my team. I love my team. I really do. They're amazing. Yep. And so Elise, like camaraderie with colleagues, I can heart that, and you can see this small animation with the hearts popping up, which is quite endearing. Love my work generally. Yes, thank you, Drubajai. Hope I pronounced your name correctly. Yep. So please feel free. Just comment. Carol, get to learn, mentoring, love group discussions, beautiful. When I see progress in your students, that definitely is very inspiring. Mentoring future teaching. Yep. So you can create the change in the world. This I can understand that. Love learning, Christine. Yep. When you teach, you also learn, and then when you I learned to look, it satisfies my curiosity. Beautiful. Opportunities for personal development. Yep, that actually is very, very nice. Yes. So this is how, when you're tutoring, this is how you can respond to student posts. You can either respond, you can heart them. By doing that, you sort of like encouraging their participation. Thank you for doing that with me. Now, let's create some content. Can we please click on this big blue button, which is new thread? And so I'm logged in as a staff, so I have an announcement option. You're logged in as students, you won't have it. So you will just have questions and posts. Preempting the question, what's the difference between question and the post? Purely theoretical. Question is something that requires an answer. Something like, when is the assessment due? Post is something that does not require an answer, like check it out. I've found a very interesting resource about the content of the lecture, something like this. It might something you might want to use post for some like social related post, etc. So let's create a post. Let's introduce ourselves. And this is something that you might want to do actually in your course. So I will create a post. I will then select the category. So let's select Ready to Tutor Week so that all our discussions will be in one category. Ready to Tutor Week. And I will say, hi from Helen. And if you can do this with me. So I would like us to introduce ourselves, say what you're passionate about, what is it that your students might want to ask you about. So I'll say, hi everyone. I am going to be your tutor. I am going to be your tutor this semester. I am passionate about online technology. Oh, I'll say e-learning technologies. I wish you all happy semester. Something like this. And we can click post. Right. I'll give you a couple of minutes to think about yourselves and how you want to introduce yourself to your students. And then we can please post in this category. While you're doing that, I will show you something. You can, and everyone in the system, students and staff alike, can edit or delete their own posts. So I will edit my post, and I probably would want to add a picture of e-learning technologies. It is very easy to do that. You can click on this picture icon. I'll repeat that later. And you don't even have to download the picture to your computer. You can embed from link. For example, I go to Google and I will just type e-learning tech. And I, for example, I like this picture. I click on it. I right click and I copy image address. And I will click embed from link. Just paste the address and click done and save. Okay. So, I see hi from Carrie. Hi, Carrie. We're exploring some big complex challenging with you this semester and figuring out how we can change the world together. Beautiful. Love that. And I can respond. Hi, Carrie. Looking forward to working with you. Post. So I'll repeat the steps how to add a picture, and the same likewise you can add a video, etc. So you click, or sorry, I'll add a new comment. So you click on the image icon, which is this picture, and click embed from link, and you will find a picture that you like. You will click on the picture, otherwise it won't work. And then on the picture, you will right click, copy image address. It will be copied in your clipboard and you can just paste it and click done and click post. All right. I see a new message from Christine. Lovely. I'm your tutor this semester. Look forward to meeting you next week. I have been teaching many years and love seeing my students learn and thrive in their studies. Spare time during the pain that takes. Oh, that's lovely. That's beautiful. That's amazing. Love that. And another thing you can do, you can't do this as students, but you can do this as a staff. You can endorse content. So I'll click this, it will be endorsed, and this blue ribbon will appear up the top here. When might you want to endorse students' posts? When something's related to the whole cohort, or when something is of a high quality and will benefit the whole class, whether it be a question or a post or an answer, etc. And you can always endorse and unendorse things. Okay, I see more posts with lovely images. It's beautiful. The last will enjoy learning more about marine environment. That's amazing. Thank you, Wei. And I can endorse that. Ruba. Thank you, Ruba. I'll be very, and Harry, forgot to endorse yours. Okay. Right. I'm aware of the time. Thank you for that. Now, our next activity is doing polling. Like EdDiscussion allows to do polls. So again, can we click on Ready to Tutor Week? And we will need the post, which is called, okay. And this is a good example how to use the search. So if you can't find a post you're looking for, there is this big search icon here, and you can type a word, a part of a word, part of a sentence. The one that I need will be called barriers. There we go. Barriers to student participation in online discussions. And that's not the one. I mean, that's the one, but I have created a new one. Give me just 1 second. Apologies for that. I don't seem to find There we go. I created it in general. I will pop the link to the it came straight up. Yep. Thank you, Carol. There are a couple of polls, the same polls created throughout the different workshops that we've been doing. So the ones that we can use now is the link is in the chat. It's not been used. So if you can please select 3 options. You can think of what barriers might students experience to participate in online discussions, and select 3 options and just click them. So I believe that fear of aggressive student responses and fear of being judged by staff, and maybe language barrier would be the biggest barriers. Yep, and we can see the votes as you're posting and you're voting. You see that the bars shift. So the consensus of the group would be, yep, language barrier, fear of being judged by staff, and fear of aggressive peer responses would be pretty much the biggest barriers. Can I please ask you in the comments to add your suggestions, how we might want to counteract, what might we do to overcome these barriers and engage students and make them more active and participate in online discussions. For example, my idea would be use encouraging language. And this is exactly the context. You might want to use polling in a discussion. You might want to check some ideas or options on a topic, and then that might get students thinking And then you might want to ask their opinion below in the comments. This is how you might want to use polling. Elise, sell the benefits of discussion and participation, allows students to have a voice. Absolutely. After the workshop, as I said, I'll send some resources. Some of them will be like the encouraging language, like formulas, or if you may, some resources on that. Yep, Christine, small breakout rooms as warm up before formal part of the TUTE begins. Yep, lovely. Keep the groups for any activities in the TUTE so the students can develop friends within the cohort. Beautiful. Thank you for that. Right. While we're in this topic, let me very quickly jump back to the slides. We've done that. And I just very quick, yep, some recommendations on how to facilitate discussions and how generally to use the discussion board. It's good when course coordinators outline community roles and regulations, something like this, 10 rules of use a discussion. It will be good to communicate it to the students beforehand. Reminders and heads up posts are very useful, something like before an assessment is due or before something like important in the course happening. Social posts. We do recommend to use social posts and post them regularly during the semester. They reduce the students' stress, especially in assessment due weeks, and they do generally create sense of belonging. Definitely post course-related information regularly. Use anonymity feature. We will just a second after I finish this. Think about the response time. So if you want to facilitate peer-peer interactions, do not post the answer straight away, because students will not challenge your authority. If a tutor or a course coordinator posted an answer, peers normally would not participate. But if you give them some time, peers might respond. Please talk to your course coordinators. What is expected of you as tutors? Are you expected to react straight away, or like lots of response, or not enough information, not enough information? So just this kind of expectations that they have to be outlined from the course coordinator side. Categories and subcategories are actually very important for group approach. Endorsing students' responses, hearting them, using encouraging language will improve student participation. All right, let's go back. And may I please ask us to test anonymity feature? So can we go to Ready to Tutor Week, and can we find the post, which is called anonymity testing? Or we can just type anonymity. Right. So what I would ask us to do is in the comment, just press comment, or just in this text box, just type something, hi, or as I said, boo, or something more creative. Check anonymous checkbox in the bottom. So I say hi, and there is this checkbox. Make it checked if it's not, and click post. See what happens. A system creates a random animal or bird or fish names. And other than it being funny, it actually tells us if it's the same student posting or a different one. Otherwise, it's all anonymous, 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 and you can't really understand who's posting. You can always, which I will do Oh, it's all gone. Yep. It is really funny, and I've learned so many animal names that I've never realized existed. So this is how anonymity works. To allow that, when you are, I can edit my post. When you're creating something, make sure that this, you might not want to hide your name from students, but check this checkbox, anonymous, allow anonymous comments. In this case, student will be able to post anonymously. Okay. And the last, are there any questions so far or anything? Because I think we have just an hour and I'm aware of we need to cover a lot of here and a lot of in Padlet. So I'm just sorry if it's too fast. Do you have any questions so far? Okay, let me check the chat. So nothing there. Okay, if you do have, you can post anything in the chat. Oh, there, how to create our own poll. Yeah, okay. To create a poll, you can't because you're students. As a staff, you click on the new thread and there is this thread, like thunder button, and then there is poll, and then you create from there. As students, you can't. As staff, you can. Right. Good. Yep, how to allow anonymous posts. Yes, how to allow anonymous posts. You just make sure you check the checkbox, anonymous comments, and then post. Students can do that. I believe as students, you can also allow anonymous comments, and you just make sure if you are posting, then of course, as a staff, you won't have to do that, but just check that anonymous and it will hide your names from the students. Okay. Discussion new this semester. All be better. It is a good question, Elise. So it's fairly new. So we piloted it second semester 2021. So in 2022, it's been already used with whatever courses wanted to use it. So 1 year is relatively, I can say that that's a new platform, but it's really so very intuitive. It can be like very easily used. Okay. If there are no more questions, I will just show one last feature in Ed Discussion. And that feature is really recent. I think maybe beginning of this semester. Chats. Up the top, if we can all go there, there's this tiny, like a plain like icon and chat. Again, as students, you won't be able to create anything. As staff, you will. So there are channels. They can be private and public, similarly to Microsoft Teams. I don't really see much sense in using public channels. The discussion board is pretty much the public channel at all. But you may use private channels for project group or for project work. So you might want to create or a tutorial group, whatever you might think. But I think like the project work might be the most commonly used use case. So you would just click on like new and you will create a channel and make it private. And then you will need to add students to that channel. Now, I believe we all are able to see public channel. Can I ask you just to click on public channel and just say hi, just to see how you can interact within the channel. And again, you can click, there are, yep. Hi, Hima. Hi, Carol. Hi, Kelly. Yep. So this is just general chatting. The same thing, same interaction appears within private channels. It's just, it will be restricted to just interactions between the students who you will add to the private channel. Okay, there was another question. Thank you, Liz. All right, is there anything else? It really is a very robust platform. Again, as students, you won't be able to, but as staff, you will be able to get access to analytics up here. And you will see at a glance who contributed, all the stats, and you can select it by time, month, custom, etc. Obviously, the spikes are where I would have the workshops because I'm using the same course. And you will see everything at a glance, who asked the most questions, who answered the most questions, etc., etc. And if you want to look at a particular student, how they are interacting and if they are active or not, you will go to contributors, and I'll use myself, Helen. And you can click and you'll have the whole history of that person participating with the post, etc. So if you are somehow marking participation, that's an invaluable source of information. And everything's downloadable via a CSV file. I can show you what's there. And you can sort of add the data, whatever data you need, and you can even upload it to Grade Center if you're marking participation in discussions, for example. Okay. So that's pretty much it for the one very last thing, notifications. Automatically, so you can go and click on your icon and you will go to the settings, and you can go to dark mode if you like it, light mode, etc. And notifications. Default is instantly. You can change it to, say, every 4 hours, twice daily or daily if you don't want to get flooded by the emails. And you can again toggle if you want to be notified when someone posts, responds, etc., etc. A cool feature is a digest. So you can, say, once a day, get like a digest of all the activities that's been in the discussion board. That's actually a nice feature. Right. Can we as students create a discussion board for a particular course? Needs to be done by the course coordinators. Good question. Depends on what role in Blackboard you have. If you're an instructor, you can easily create that. If you are a teaching assistant, you probably won't. And to do that, it's really, let me give me a second. I'll just show you very quickly. It literally takes 10 seconds. So you would go here, this tiny button here, and you will go to link. You'll type add discussion. You'll select add discussion, make it available to users, click submit. That's it. And you will click on it. It will take me to the ones that I've already, oh no, I haven't created actually. Yep, you'll click activate, and that's it. That's your discussion board. And you will go here, and that's your discussion, and you'll start working. As easy as that. It is really cool. All right, that's it for a discussion. Let's move on to Padlet. And I'll send the guides on everything of what we're talking about. Now, Padlet is an online board for students to collaborate in class or out of class. This is how it looks. It's really like there are different formats. I will show them to you in just a second, and students can add posts to the Padlet. And last question, how to add students to the discussion board? Thank you for the question, Hima. You don't have to. They basically click on this link and they get to Blackboard. If you want, you can go to the settings here, and will be users, and you can click sync with LMS, and all the users that are in the course will automatically get synced with the discussion board. But you don't even have to. They click on the link and that's it. It's fully integrated. Lovely. Okay, back to Padlet. So it can be used in class or out of class to collaborate and share resources. There are different Padlet formats suiting different use cases, which I will show you in just a second. It allows to provide feedback through reactions and comments, and you can assign grades for posts and can be used even for formative assessment, and it can be embedded with anywhere, Blackboard, LearnX, discussion teams. And it can be used for a small or a big group. It will improve class dynamics and different teaching settings, face-to-face or Zoom, Teams, etc. And the learning objectives that can be mapped by the Padlet would be remembering, understanding, applying, and it can be used for brainstorming, outlining, and reporting solutions. All right. There are various Padlet formats. And I will, yep. So this one's called wall format. It's actually the most commonly used. It's basically a wall and all the posts are put on the wall. This is a map format. It's basically a map, and you can ask student to actually pinpoint where they were born, for example, or where they had their last vacation, or what's their dream destination. It can be used as an icebreaker. It's map format. Shelf format. You can see that there are different shelves, and you can ask them to add their posts to a particular shelf. See, there are pluses here, so they can click on a plus and they can add the format to a shelf. It's very often used in Zoom sessions in collaboration with breakout rooms. So breakout room 1 would have like all the students adding something to room 1, etc., etc. In tutorials, again, you can, if you again break in students within a tutorial, within groups, wall format can be used. Shelf format, apologies, that was shelf format. That's another use case of shelf format is breakout rooms. Canvas format, used for brainstorming mostly. So you can, with every Padlet, you will need instructions, and we will just create one of our own in just a second. You will have some prompt, and the students will make their post, and they can link it to that original prompt. This is Canvas format. Another use case, an example of Canvas format. For example, you want to discuss benefits of ICTs, etc. Yep. So that's really very often used for brainstorming. Timeline format, where students will, say, post a weekly reflections that can be individual for every student, and they can post, say, weekly reflections in a timeline. All right. May I please ask you to scan this QR code, and if you don't have a phone on you, I will get you, give me a second. It should be this one. Let me double check. Yep, that's the one. I'll pop it in the chat. And I'll put the QR code back in a second, sorry. Yeah, here it is. And this is an example how you can use Padlet in class. So you will generate a QR code, and we will do that in just a second. I keep promising just a second, just as we'll do that. Yep, and if it's in Zoom, if it's like hybrid delivery, you can post a link and you can get that. It's free to use for, well, it's not free, you can use paying for it, but yes, everyone can use it, and the students do not need to have an account to create it. The staff needs accounts, and we will create one just now. Again, in just a second. So let's participate first to get the feel of how it works. So we're here. Can I please ask you, there is this big, it's not so big, green button. If you can click on it, this is how you will add a post. And if I may just ask you to introduce yourselves. And so the posts are anonymous, and unless you say that, hi, this is from someone, then we will not know who you are, which is fine. So let's click on the plus and say, hi from Helen. And again, you can add multimedia, you can add some text. And you can add a picture. I probably would not want to do that. And you can add different, like you can add a GIF. Okay, let me add a GIF. Or an image. Please feel free to play around. So I'm giving you another 30 seconds to do that. So this is how a student will experience that. Okay. Right, now let's create our own Padlet, and let's first get our own account. Can I please ask you, and let me pop the link in the chat, go to padletuq.padlet.org. Before that, please log in. If you're logged in as students, you need to log in as staff. So I'll open an incognito window because you don't have to, because I have already staff account, and just I want to show you how someone without an account will experience it. We will need to continue with Microsoft. So if you click on the link that I posted in the chat, you have to be logged in as staff. And we'll click continue with Microsoft. I'll go back. It's very important that we all have our accounts, so that's okay. If you miss something, I will do it again. We will need to sign in with our UQ address. Give me a second. So we will need to log in with UQ email and password. You will need to authenticate. And we should be in. Can I please have show of hands if you were able to log into Padlet? Thank you, Lou. We'll wait. It's important that we do get access to Padlet, and we'll create our Padlet. So click on the link. Thank you, Liz. Let me do it again. So I'll log out. And then log in again. So we need to go to Padlet, uq.padlet.org. We will need to click continue with Microsoft. And we'll need to log in with UQ. Okay, it took me in straight away. So we'll need to log in as staff with UQ, email, address, and password. And then we'll go through authentication process, and you should be able to get in here. Is anyone else in Padlet? Thank you, Why? Thank you, Kelly. Yeah, thank you, Beth Marianne. So, okay, we will give me just a second. I'm just aware of time. We only have like 12 minutes left. So let's keep on going. And if you are not yet there, then you can, again, I'll send the guides. They're really self-explanatory, and then you can sort of practice doing that on your own. Okay, so let's click now, make a Padlet, this big pink it is button, make a Padlet, and let's choose wall format. So let's choose on wall format. The title, we do recommend the course code and the name of the activity, or the name of the Padlet, why you might want to use it. For example, I say ABCD 1, 2, 3, 4, community Padlet. Description is actually the instructions to the student, which will go up the top. It's important to let them know what you want them to do in the Padlet, how you might want to use it. For example, please introduce yourself to our community. Icon, you can use an icon. Let me use one of the animals and icon. So have a look. It will be shown up here next to the title, and you click save. Wallpaper. So it's black by default. Select either a color, or you can use a gradient, or you can upload a picture, a custom one, or you can upload the ones that we already have here. I like the sky, and click save. Don't select any of the settings. They other than probably filter profanity, that yes, especially with a big class, that will probably be an important feature. Require approval, you don't want that. Otherwise, every time before someone posts, you will need to approve that, which is not practical. Yep, so that's it. That's the settings. Appearance, layout. Let's go posting. Advanced. And this is it. This is how the Padlet's done. Now, there are a couple of things we also need to check. the settings. So how do you want how to share the Padlet? Oh, sorry, before, it's a rule of thumb, it's a good thing, a good practice to add your post first, so that the student, it's like, students are coming into an empty room. No one there, they don't know what's supposed to do. So it will be good if you create the first post yourself, something like welcome to our community. Hi, I'm Helen. I'm your tutor this semester. I'm your tutor this semester. And publish. There are some settings. Let's go through some settings. Just below your icon, that will be an arrow pointing to the right. That's a share session, share settings. Right. So this is how you might need to share the Padlet. So if you want to get a QR code, it's exactly what I did for this training. You just copy, right-click, copy image, add it to, say, your PowerPoint or whatever tutorial slides that you have. This is how you might want to use it. Or you can embed it in your blog or a website. You can embed it in, say, a discussion board, which might be like a bit of an overkill to have their own use cases. I will show you, while you're playing with the Padlet, I will show you how to add Padlet to your Blackboard site. I was here. You will go, say, in Learning Resources, and you would go Build Content, and you would go to Padlet. It will take you to your account, and you will select whatever Padlet you want to share. That's it. Again, 30 seconds. It will be at the bottom, and the students will click on the Padlet, and it will take them to the Padlet that you want them to participate or to contribute to. Easy. Very good. Okay, so where were we? Yep. So this is how easy it is. I encourage you to play with different formats, like wall format and different other formats, and just add some images, etc., and see what suits your use case in your particular tutorial. Right. We have 5 minutes left. Are there any questions here? You can reuse Padlets. For example, if you created one for one tutorial, you can duplicate it and use the same format for like other tutorials. You can do that. Again, I'll send the guides for all of that. It's just like building awareness that it's possible to do that. Okay, is there a question? How long the Padlet can be saved for? Good question. I don't know, Emily. I'll have to check that for you. No one has asked this question before. I'll check that. Is recording going to be available after? Absolutely. Yep. I will send the recording immediately after the session, maybe when it's processed, maybe a couple of minutes later, with the PowerPoint and some additional resources that I promised. I will send it all. Okay, what else? All right, give me a second. That. Let me go back to my slides. Okay, so as I said, I will send all the resources from the workshop. And yes, I will also send the links to, so we are e-learning advisors, and we provide support to the academic staff, to professional staff, to tutors alike on the implementation of e-learning tools in their teaching and learning. We're very happy to work one-on-one with you guys, you can book a consultation with us, and you can read our guides and just to become more familiar with the tools. Yeah, so this is pretty much what we wanted to talk about. We still have 3 more minutes, so I might stop share and we can maybe discuss if you're comfortable in using any of these tools. We also have other collaborative tools, such as EcoPoll. That's an advanced polling system, which is integrated into PowerPoints. Again, I will send the guides for that. You might want to explore that. It may be very interesting. Also, there is Ripple. Ripple is a platform where students can create learning resources for themselves and for the whole cohort that can be moderated by their peers and then pulled into the general repository for resources to practice for everyone. It's a very interesting tool. And there are others, again, send the guides to them. Thank you everyone for attending the workshop. Yep, if you need to go, please do so. It was my pleasure meeting you all. All the best with semester 2. Again, we're here to help. Please reach out. Thank you. Have a good day.